Brazil. The Brazilian badge is basically what happens when you're too good at football and you know it. You don't need to be loud, you don't need a lion or an eagle breathing fire. You show up with a green bordered shield, slap the national cross and flag colours on it, and then crown it with 5 stars. That's it. That's the whole flex. They've won the World Cup so much that they don't even name their logo after football anymore. It's just the CBF, Confederação Brasileira de Futebol, because saying football in Portuguese already tells you it's Brazil. No country has more finesse in its logo. It's the equivalent of walking into a pitch in flip-flops and still humiliating everyone. But it wasn't always this smooth. Brazil's logo used to be a bit messier, more old school, until they went for a full redesign in 2019. They streamlined the design, simplified shapes, and made everything feel more modern. And now, even when the team has an off year, like getting cooked 7-1 in 2014, that badge still shows up with confidence. Anyway, speaking of 7-1, Germany. Germany's logo feels like it came straight out of a government office, and I mean that in the most German way possible. It's the kind of badge that demands respect just by existing. There are no animals and no wild fonts, just a serious-looking eagle that is either flexing its biceps on us or is tied to the wall. They call it the Bundesadler, and it's actually the country's coat of arms. So when the German national team shows up, they're not just playing football, they're playing for the whole of the Federal Republic, which makes it extra funny that their kit is made by Adidas and not like an actual ministry. But real talk, that badge has seen it all. The World Cup wins, the dramatic penalty shootouts, and the heartbreaks. They don't slap on stars for decoration either. Every one of those 4 stars is earned through pain, discipline, and probably a spreadsheet. It's like they put Microsoft Excel into a jersey. And somehow it works. No nonsense, no drama, just football. And if you want drama, let's talk about Argentina. Argentina's badge is literally built to hold trophies. It's shaped like a framed certificate, which is fitting because Messi is a professor when it comes to football. That sky blue and white is straight from the national flag. Argentina didn't need a fancy logo with 20 design layers. They just went classic. 3 letters, AFA, 2 colours, and 3 stars. One for Maradona's chaos in '86, one for Messi in 2022, and the first one way back in '78. But here's the funny part. For years, people clowned this logo. They said it looked like something from a school uniform, and maybe it did. But when you've got 2 of the most iconic players in history wearing it, suddenly it looks legendary. That's how legacy works. You don't redesign the logo to fit greatness. Greatness makes the logo iconic. Italy. Italy's badge is pure style. I mean, of course it is. It's Italy. They could have gone with a gladiator helmet or a roaring lion, but nah. They showed up with clean lines, bold colours, and just enough flair to let you know how important style is to them. That tricolour, the green, white and red, is right from the national flag. But the real power move is the 4 gold stars hovering above the crest. It's like wearing a suit with just enough buttons undone to show off the chest hair. The badge speaks with that quiet confidence of someone who's already seen it all. You think of Italy, and you think of Cannavaro lifting the World Cup. You think of Buffon roaring with passion. You think of penalties, lots of penalties. And the badge has been there for all of it. From fashion, let's move to something that looks like it belongs in a trophy case. France. France's logo is loud, proud, and has a literal rooster in it. Yeah, a rooster. The Gallic rooster has been a national symbol for centuries, and the French just said, let's put that thing in everybody's faces. But here's the twist, it somehow works. The rooster in the badge isn't just standing around like a farm animal, it's mid-strut, like it just scored a goal and is looking for the camera. And with 2 stars above it, nobody's laughing anymore. Those stars represent their World Cup wins in '98 and 2018, and you best believe they're aiming for a 3rd soon. The badge has gone through a bunch of redesigns over the years, some a bit more experimental than others, but the vision is always the same. Confident, artistic, and just a little bit cocky, kind of like the national team itself, Spain. Spain's badge doesn't mess around. It looks like it came out of a royal archive. You've got the crown, the old school shield, and a level of detail that makes it look like it should be in a museum. It's basically football's version of a royal seal, which makes sense. Because when Spain plays their best football, it's like watching a royal orchestra. Tiki-taka wasn't just a tactic, it was a flex. The badge is built straight from Spain's national coat of arms, and when you see it, you think of an era when they ruled world football like nobility. From Euro 2008 to the 2010 World Cup to Euro 2012, Spain didn't just win, they orchestrated. The badge didn't change much during that era, but the one star added above it in 2010 gave it a new weight. But that single gold star carries the elegance of a dynasty. Even when they're not dominating anymore, the badge reminds you. At one point, they were untouchable. Netherlands. The Dutch badge? That thing is pure fire. You've got this wild-looking lion that looks like it's yelling instructions. It's orange, it's bold, and it makes you wonder how a team with such an iconic aura still doesn't have a World Cup, but maybe that's what makes it even more lovable. The lion has always been a symbol of Dutch pride, and the KNVB crest wears it like a badge of honor. They've updated the design a few times, but it's always been about that lion and that deep, unmistakable orange. Hey! If you've been enjoying this video so far, don't let it stop here. Like and subscribe so you have first-hand access to the videos as soon as they drop. Next up, let's head next to the country that practically invented international football beef. England. England's badge feels like it was sketched during a lunch break in the 1800s and then just stuck around. And weirdly, it works. It's 3 lions, straight from the Royal Arms of England, and 10 red roses, added in 1949 to mark the FA's 75th anniversary. But those roses aren't just decoration. They represent the 10 original divisions that made up the early Football Association, a subtle tribute to the structure that helped build the game in England. And that single gold star above it? That's for 1966, England's only World Cup win. Since then, missed penalties, cursed golden generations, and a whole lot of it's coming home that never quite arrives. But the badge? It's unchanged, stoic, proud, English to the core. Portugal. Portugal's badge is low-key one of the most slept-on designs in football. It's got this bold cross shape wrapped in a medieval frame, a bunch of national symbolism baked into it, and it somehow looks like it could be a pendant in a fantasy game and also a wine label. That cross is the Order of Christ, and the tiny shields inside it come from their actual national coat of arms. But let's be real. Nobody really looked at this badge that deeply until Cristiano Ronaldo started turning up with it. For years, Portugal was always that team with great talent but no real silverware. The badge felt like it had potential but was just waiting. Then 2016 happened. From their Euros win to the Nations League, and suddenly, that badge got loud. And speaking of teams that are always in the mix but never quite break through, Belgium. The Belgian badge has gone through a bit of a glow-up recently, but it used to be this classic old-school crest with a royal crown and a lot of laurel wreath energy. But now it's sleek, clean, and modern, just like the team it represents. The new version, which was redesigned a couple years ago, is all sharp lines and bold typography, like it was made in the same lab where De Bruyne was grown. But here's the catch. For all the talent they've had, Hazard, Lukaku, Courtois, and even KDB, they've still got nothing to show for it. They have no major international trophies, so every time you see that badge, it feels like a reminder of what could have been. It's a badge that carries more potential than legacy. Uruguay. This badge should not be as iconic as it is. On paper, it's a rectangle with a sun, some stripes, and 4 stars that most people think are fake. But once you realize Uruguay has actually won 2 World Cups and 2 Olympic golds that FIFA used to count as world titles, yeah, those stars are real. Their badge might not scream style, but it's got heritage pouring out of it. That AUF in the middle stands for the Uruguayan Football Association, and it's been around longer than some national teams even existed. You look at that crest and you don't think flair, you think tackles, elbows, and a team that's going to ruin your day even if they lose. And that's kind of beautiful. But if Uruguay's badge is pure history, Croatia's badge is pure vibes and red checkered chaos. Croatia. Croatia's logo looks like it belongs on a board game box, and I say that with full respect. That red and white checkerboard is loud and unapologetically Croatian. And if you've ever watched Modric ping a pass in that kit, you know it hits different. The HNS in the badge stands for Hrvatski Nogometni Savez, which is basically their football federation, but honestly, nobody ever talks about that. It's all about that checkerboard. It's a pattern so bold it looks like a risk, but it's one they've fully embraced. And to be fair, it fits their whole national team vibe. You know, underdogs with no fear, and they have backed that up because they were finalists in 2018, semi-finalists in 2022. It's almost funny how such a small nation keeps showing up and embarrassing giants, all while looking like that. But hey, if it works, it works. And if Croatia is the underdog icon, Mexico is the passionate chaos we all secretly love. Mexico. Mexico's badge is like their football, passionate, evolving, and impossible to ignore. The old version had an eagle perched on a cactus with a football underneath, straight from the national coat of arms and full of symbolism. But in 2021, they gave it a major overhaul. The new crest is sharp, stripped down, and modern. The eagle is still there, but now it's stylized, leaning forward, wings tense, like it's ready to launch into a counterattack. They kept the historical essence but made it feel faster, fiercer, and more global. The green, white, and red are still unmistakable, and the whole design feels less like an old-school emblem and more like a war cry. And just like the team it represents, the badge has always been about more than trophies. It's about identity, energy, noise, a full stadium singing in unison. Even if the scoreboard doesn't always cooperate, Mexico's badge doesn't just represent a team, it represents a feeling. Now, to close things out, we head to one of the most underrated badges and football culture combos out there: Colombia. Colombia's badge is probably the simplest one on this list, but it might be one of the most recognizable. It's literally a big red football pattern on a white circle, surrounded by the yellow, blue, and red of the national flag. That's it. And honestly, it fits, because Colombia doesn't overthink it. They just show up and make the game beautiful. Think James Rodriguez in 2014. Think Cuadrado dancing after a goal. Think of those yellow shirts bouncing in the stands like a carnival. That badge might not scream tradition or history in its design, but it feels alive. It feels like a party. And while they haven't had that major trophy moment on the global stage, the badge still shows up with rhythm. Let us know in the comments which national team badge you think stands out the most, or if there's one we completely overlooked that deserves a shout out. If you enjoyed this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell so you don't miss what's coming next.